A big part of any trip is packing for it. And sometimes that can be hard to know what to pack, especially if it's a destination you're not as familiar with. So today we're going to talk about packing for a Disney Parks vacation. This is episode 12. I'm Sariah.
I'm Aurora.
And together we're just your average Disney travelers. So there's different types of packers, lots of different kinds of packers, I guess, depending on what you're talking about. Those that pack early and last minute packers, which are you?
I'm a last minute packer, but I don't do it's depending on the trip. I usually do it the day before or the evening before.
Were you always a last minute packer?
Nope.
Nope, not at all. I remember you asking me weeks before trips, can we start packing?
I actually do that still. So I'll weeks before I would want to pack, but then by the time it actually gets to a reasonable time to pack, I just don't want to do it.
And I used to be that way too, actually. I used to pack early. I think that sometimes now it's if it's a destination I'm not as familiar with, or I'm really worried, thinking a lot about what do I need to make sure we take or stuff like that, then I'll pack earlier. But when it's a routine trip or not a very big trip and I know it's going to be quick and easy, I'm a last minute packer. I think your dad's rubbing off on me. He's totally a last minute packer. Totally. Okay, there's also overpackers and underpackers. So what are you?
Totally overpacker.
Yeah.
I like preparing for the unplanned.
Yeah, and I think you get that from me. I'm an overpacker too. Although you know what's funny is your dad does that too in certain ways. Not with his clothes, because he'll take the bare minimum of clothes. He takes all the tools or supplies or things like that.
I bring little first aid kits.
Yeah. Which it's not a bad idea, but I don't see there because I'm an overpacker too.
I bring flashlights.
Okay, yeah. So, all right. So, we're gonna talk about the things you should take on it, or at least the things that we have things that we've learned that we like to take on Disney park vacations. What we pack for them. We're not going to talk about the common sense stuff. You know, or you should know what you need for your toiletries. You can look at the weather and determine what you should wear for this trip, because every week of the year might be a little different anyways. You know you should take your park tickets or your magic bands or your plane tickets or your ID and passport. Those things we are not going to put on our list today. Today we're going to talk about the things that either you might not think about or you might not realize just how important it is. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and the first few are really, it's not in any particular order, but the first few do tend to address mostly the comfort level, because I think that the best way to ruin a trip real fast is to do something, be negligent in an area and be either hurt or somehow seriously discomforted for the rest of the trip. We've experienced that, have we not? Rory has especially.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to talk about, some of those will be on there. All right, Aurora, what is our first?
Comfortable walking shoes and also non-cotton socks.
Yeah. Why?
Because, wait, the shoes or the socks?
Both, either.
Shoes, because you're going to be walking a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. My last trip, I did a ton of walking in my 2 days and my feet are done. Yeah.
So walking, and then also blisters. You want the socks, having a good pair of socks and comfortable pair of shoes will help with that, because you're doing a lot of walking and standing in the Disney parks, and the last thing you need is on the very first day getting some nasty blisters and sore spots on your feet, which you're going to then be on for the rest of your trip. Oh, that will ruin you real fast.
Yeah.
So I always have recommended to take at least 2 pairs of very comfortable walking shoes. Whatever your most comfortable pair. This is not the time to buy a brand new pair unless you're doing it ahead of time and can break them in completely, because you do not want to have any of those episodes. Two pairs of comfortable walking shoes and it's ideal if at least one of those can get wet, because there are water rides. Sometimes
rain.
Yeah. So you're going to sometimes, not always, but sometimes be wet, and so that's a real help. And then yeah, the socks. If you're wearing tennis shoes and socks, don't wear cotton. Cotton is awful. Wear some synthetic fabric like a nylon or a polyester or something like that. So that will help. There are some, this is not the time to be making a fashion statement necessarily. If you need your clothes and your shoes to match your clothes to your shoes, because your shoes need to be most important on this one. You really need to make sure your feet are taken care of. I don't always wear tennis shoes with socks, actually. I usually like to wear a sandal because I don't like my tennis shoes getting wet. So I have some sandals that are comfortable to walk in. But even then, sometimes when they get wet, they'll rub wrong. And so just make sure that you're very familiar with what you're wearing, what footwear you bring. But that should be a top priority for everyone in your family that's walking. All right. Okay, so next on the list, and has to do with the same thing, is some sort of material that will help to resist the blisters as well. We recommend, what we use is called Leukotape. Specifically Leukotape P. I guess there's different kinds. This is something that's kind of new to us in the last couple of years. We used to do moleskin a lot, and that works as well. But we found Leukotape P. We were introduced to it at one point when we were doing a multi-day hike, and we tried it and liked it a lot. It's thinner, it's very flexible, it's easier to, I think, use. But the thing is, if you already are developing a blister or you have some sort of a wound or something, you don't want to use this because this sticks like crazy, and when you take it off, it will rip off the skin if it is already wounded. If it's healthy skin, it's not going to rip your skin off. But if you have a blister,
that would be a problem.
Wouldn't that be awful? This is actually used medically most of the time for like flexible areas like your joints in I guess, I don't know if it's strengthening or realigning or things like that, but it works really well also as just to provide that layer so that you're not rubbing against your skin, it's rubbing against the Leukotape. And so we recommend something like that. If you can't find that, if you're not interested in trying that, then try moleskin or something. But do something preventative. Don't wait until you get the blister. Put this in those hot spots, the places where you feel pressure, ahead of time. We usually will bring also blister band-aids, which are really good, or waterproof band-aids, which help. If you were to get that blister, you need to put that on. But yeah. Okay, what's next?
Sunscreen, aloe vera, and chapstick.
Yeah.
Those are ones you should definitely bring.
Yeah, what happened not the last trip, but the last bad experience.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the last cruise, it was the cruise before the last cruise.
Yeah.
But the last really bad experience poor Rory had.
So we went to, what was it, like the Bahamas?
Yeah, we were in the Bahamas and went to Castaway Cay.
Yeah.
It was
and
a
we had
Disney
some
cruise.
sunscreen, and so put sunscreen on, we ran out, jumped into...
I don't know if we ran out of the sunscreen.
I'm pretty sure...
Because I had lots of sunscreen. But
well, we forgot anyway, so...
Midday, we did not reapply.
Yeah. So I jumped in the pool, or the water,
Yeah,
so the sunscreen washed off. And then we got out to like have lunch, and then I went back in for about a couple hours.
Yeah, Rory was the only one that really stayed in the water all day, and
I got cooked.
We didn't think to reapply. We should have. So reapply during the day.
Yes.
Bring the sunscreen and then use it.
Multiple times.
Yeah, thankfully that was the last full day of our trip. The next day we were traveling home, which was absolutely miserable. We did have some time in the sun because it was still, we got back to Florida and then had to fly home, and so we had a few hours in Florida first. And even with her we weren't like even at an amusement park or anything like that, but
we were just outside.
Yeah, it was so terribly painful for her. That you don't want. Could you imagine that being the first day of a vacation? We had done like a 10 or 11 day trip that trip. We did a week at Disney World and then the cruise, and that would have been miserable to have several days of that much pain. Yeah. So please bring the sunscreen, use it, bring some aloe vera just in case, because like I said, sometimes if you don't reapply fast enough, keep in mind too, if you're coming from the north going down south, you are used to a different sun. The sun is so much more powerful down south, And so even if you're used to being outside without sunscreen, this is a totally different climate. And then the chapstick we threw in there because that's what I use all the time. I always need chapstick, especially when I travel from climate to climate. My lips don't like it, and I get sores if I'm not keeping them, moisturized. So I use chapstick a lot. I don't even worry about lipstick.
I never use chapstick.
You never do. I know. I do though. So it doesn't hurt. It's teeny tiny. Throw a little chapstick in your bag to take with you on your trip.
I always bring it on trips.
Okay, well, you're prepared. Okay, so the next one, so extra medication. So obviously you know what medication you need to take, but I would say plan for a couple of days extra because you just never know when there's going to be some sort of a little delay. We have had so many times that when I was a travel agent, if a hurricane or something slowed down and delayed someone's return home, and a big issue is, do they have the medications that they need if they are forced to lay over or stay longer than they originally planned? So make sure you have not just the medications you need, but extra, at least a couple days extra. I usually try for 3 just to be safe. I hardly ever have to use any extra, but just in case, it's there. And along with that, I get motion sickness very easily. And so even when I'm not going on a cruise, I always take ginger with me. It's a natural, kind of helps settle your tummy. And so I use that anytime I'm doing any car ride, any flights. And then I also will take it during the day if some of the rides are roughing me up a little bit. I'll take ginger and that helps. It doesn't help me with everything. There's still things I won't be able to ride without getting sick. Unfortunately, Everest. I can't ride Mount Everest. Expedition Everest. Going backwards. I can't do it, no matter how much ginger I take. But some things that I would be on the borderline of, ginger helps settle my tummy. So if you are concerned about motion sickness in any form, at any point, for anyone on your trip, ginger is a natural way. You don't have to worry about giving it to your kids. You can do pills, you can do candies, you can do gum. There's a variety of different ways to get that, but that's on my list. Okay, what's next?
A massager for feet.
Yeah,
like we said earlier, you're gonna get sore pretty fast, so bring a massager.
Yeah, and we've in the past usually will, if we remember, sometimes we don't remember this, but when we remember, we put like just a small little massager because ideally you got someone in your family that wants to give you a nice foot rub and you're getting all comfy. That does not happen. At the end of the day, everyone's tired and sore themselves. So we usually will bring just a little massager to really rub on the bottom of our feet. Just this year for Christmas, my husband got, and if you're not watching on YouTube, then you won't see this, but I don't even know what this is called. It's a ball that has spiky things. It's like a spiky ball, and it's hard. And we're thinking we might use this next time, but it's just the size of, like, I don't know, maybe a baseball. And but you put it on the ground afterwards and just rub your feet, roll your feet back and forth over it to kind of give yourself a massage. So whatever you've got that you could use to help rub your feet a little bit afterwards, that will help your feet relax before you go to bed, and then you'll be fresh and new for the next day of more walking. All right, so next on our list. Okay, I don't know if we have any guys that listen to the podcast. If you do, plug your ears. Ladies, this one's for you. Maybe there's some situations for the guys, but I'm not a guy, so I don't know. What I do know is for the ladies, you want to make sure, even if it's not on the calendar to be happening during your trip, bring some feminine products, because you can get some there. We have unfortunately learned the hard way that you can, but it's really expensive. If you're at Disneyland, it's not so bad because there's like a CVS on the corner, like you can quickly get to a drugstore to get some products. But if you're at a Walt Disney World Resort and you don't have a rental car because you're using Disney transportation, all you're left with is the resort gift store, and they have it. It's insanely expensive. And so, yeah, bring a few of those, even if you're not scheduled to need them, because you just never know when Mother Nature likes to pull a trick on you. All right, Rory, let's get off that subject. Boys, you can listen again.
Sunglasses.
Yeah. This is kind of obvious. I think that's one you'd think of. What you might not think of is bringing 2. Okay.
Wow.
Because my husband, I can't tell you, I don't even know how many sunglasses we've had to buy for Dad at theme parks or amusement parks, because either he forgot his, or he dropped them during a roller coaster and they're gone, or he broke them. And there have
just lost them.
Yeah, there have been times where he even said, we don't need, I'm not going to break them, I'm not going to lose them. And then he did that trip. And so we have purchased him multiple pairs of sunglasses. You can get them, they're not super duper expensive, but they're less expensive when you buy them before and you're not at Disney. Now, if you're like me, I buy my sunglasses at Disney anyways because I like the Mickey Mouse sunglasses.
Yeah, you have like 5.
Okay, you didn't have to say that, but yes, I have a few. But most people just, if you like my husband, he wouldn't want that, but he ends up with some from Disney because. So pack sunglasses, pack a couple pair of sunglasses, and remember again, if you're not in the South, you might not be realizing just how much sun there is. Obviously, even in the winter, you're going to have brighter days, and so protect your eyes. You'll be more comfortable. You'll feel better when you're having to take those pictures and you're not squinting. Just put on your sunglasses. Alrighty. Okay, this is another kind of boring one, but medical insurance cards. Again, hopefully you don't ever really need it, but I hope that you never leave home without it anyways, but especially on a trip, a vacation where you're away from home for a while, just in case you want to have it. Nothing fancy to say about it, just make sure you've got it in case you have an emergency. All right, bring us to another one.
Portable charger.
Yeah, like a power bank or something for charging your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Disney is notorious for sucking the battery out of your cell phones. And I don't know if that's because we're using them so much with the apps and then taking pictures and videos and posting them, or if it's just that they have some power drainer there. I don't know. But you go through your power like crazy, your battery like crazy on your phone. And so definitely, even if you've got an amazing phone battery and you don't expect to use it much, take one anyways. Take something, even if it's a little one that can only recharge one charge. I have one that's kind of a medium size that will do all of our phones. I also like to send Rory because sometimes she splits off and does her own thing. I like to know that she's got a little one on her, usually just because then if she's separated with us and her phone starts dying, she can recharge it and we can reach her. But yeah. And make sure you recharge it every day when you're going to sleep. Plug it in so the next day it's full and ready to go out and recharge you again. All right, next one will be a data plan. This isn't really something you can pack, but your data plan and your Disney apps. Make sure before you go on your trip that you download the Disney app for the destination you're going to, because it is super resourceful. It's going to be helpful to you, and a lot of times having that beforehand will help you plan. But then, especially when you're there, there's maps, there's wait times. You can schedule fast passes if that's available. Right now, it's not, but hopefully that's back soon. So things like that, and then make sure that you've got a good data plan. They do have Wi-Fi in the parks, but if you can imagine thousands of people in the park using the same Wi-Fi, it is sluggish and drains. There's a lot of use on there, and so if you can have your data plan just that 1 month or just for that time that you're going to be on your trip, that is helpful, so you don't have to rely on the Wi-Fi in the parks. So I know that wasn't really something you could pack, but it is something that you might want to think about. Okay, next.
Yeah. Gum. You cannot buy gum at Disneyland.
Or Disney World.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walt was pretty clear he did not want to have gum. He didn't like how dirty it was. People just toss it on the floor or ground, and it's sticky and it's hard to clean, and so they do not sell it. You can chew it.
Yeah.
If you bring it, but you cannot buy it there. So bring gum if you like gum.
Yeah.
I guess you don't have to worry about that right now. Braces.
Nope. Just sad because I love gum.
Yeah. Well, braces won't last forever.
Nope.
Okay, another thing is to pack for your trip, you want to pack a bag that you're going to take into the park if you're going to take a bag into the park. We always do, though. What we like to do is pack my husband with the Camelback, which is one of those bags, backpacks that has the water in there. You could also call them hydration packs, I think they're also called. So it doesn't have to be Camelback, that's just one brand. But we like to pack him up with that. And then, whatever you need to put in your bag, you put in there. If you want a first aid kit, if you need some snacks or whatever, that's great. But yeah, something to hold whatever you need to hold. If I'm not with my husband, I don't always take the Camelback myself, but what I usually will do is a crossover bag, like a messenger style bag, but it's usually smaller. And I can usually put, bless you, she had a silent sneeze there. But I usually can put like a water bottle in it or something that I can refill. So if you don't take a hydration pack of some sort, take a water bottle that's refillable, because you're going to need to stay hydrated one way or another. But yeah, a bag to take things in, and and then if it doesn't include water, a way to get water. I guess is that's two different things. But since our bag and our water are the same, then I kind of counted it as one. So I might have cheated there. But yeah, actually my sister, you've met her. She was in last week's podcast. You met her kids a few weeks ago. All of those kids have their own little mini hydration packs, and they're not very big, so it's not super heavy, but it's just a little bit of some water for them, and then she has enough room in there to put a few snacks and whatever she needs to put in there for them. And so you can do that. It might make it a little easier if everyone's just holding their own water and they can get it whenever they want. But one way or another, plan for that. Okay, what do you have next?
Trading pins. I love trading pins.
Yeah, Rory really likes the trading pins. This is optional, of course, if you're not a pin trader. If you're not really interested in that, maybe we need to do an episode all about pin trading sometime.
Ooh.
To introduce it. Yeah, and you could show off some of your pins.
I have so many.
She does. But yeah, so if you are interested in trading pins, it's best to bring some ahead of time because they're very expensive to purchase in the parks. You can, but they're expensive, and usually the ones you can purchase in the parks are not ones that you want to trade. Again, you could, but it's always easier to plan ahead, get some off of eBay for really cheap, and then trade them there. You might also want to plan something to just like hold the pins.
Yeah, we used to just do lanyards.
Yeah, you just pin them to the lanyard.
But then recently I've gotten like an actual bag for my pins.
Which is another crossover type of bag,
Yeah.
so it's easy, your arms are free, it's not like you're having to carry it, you just kind of wear it, and then it's just sitting there on her hip whenever she sees a cast member she wants to trade with. Yeah, right? Alright. Okay, so this one you want to pack for your trip. It's not going to go in the parks with you, but an extension cord for your hotel. And along with that, maybe some hotels are better than others about providing outlets as well as USB ports. So maybe a multi-USB charger or whatever called, plug-in. I don't know what they're called. I should have thought about that.
Ports.
But anyway, ports. Yes, thank you, ports.
That's what I call them. I don't know what they're called either.
Well, that's close. That's better than pluggy-in things. So anyways, so yeah, an extension cord, if you're going to be using your laptop, if you have to for work, or if your kids have to do assignments or anything like that, then maybe something that's a surge protecting power cord. But yeah, you want to pack something like that for a Disney park vacation. This is not something you would be, I don't think they let you take those on Disney Cruise Line, just so you know. Some of these things cross over, but some of these don't, and that's probably not something they'll let you take. But Disney park trip, yeah. An extension cord I always pack. What's next on your list?
This is optional, but a waterproof camera.
Yeah, it's fun sometimes if you're documenting your trip and you're going on water rides. We actually have Leukotape. Oh, I don't remember what it's called. Sport something. But yeah, and it does video and photo, and it's good in the water, and that's fun also to take in the pool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually don't always take it into the parks anymore. But that's something to keep in mind. If you're interested in that, pack that. We used to pack that a lot more than we do now.
Yeah, that's probably because our phones are a bit more water resistant.
They are more water resistant than they used to be, yeah. And you're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, and going along with that would be Ziploc bags. Now, Ziploc bags, of course, are multifunctional. The reason why I put them on this list was primarily, or first, for protecting your phone if you're on the water rides or something like that. If before you get on Splash or something like that, you put your electronics in a Ziploc bag in your bag, and then you don't have to worry about it. Now, the truth is, I don't really do that very often. Honestly, I've found that they've been protected just in my bag, and I kind of hunch over them a little bit and block it a little bit myself, and I've never had a problem. But sometimes you get more drenched than others, and so I'd hate to have an accident happen. And the other thing is, I use Ziplocs for lots of things. I use Ziplocs to bring in some extra snacks. I'll use Ziplocs for, like, I don't know, tucking away makeup or something. You know, there's lots of different things you can use your Ziplocs for. So I always bring Ziplocs more than I need because, as we determined already, we're planners. Okay, so next on your list.
Ponchos.
Yeah.
It rains.
It does rain. It rains, especially in Walt Disney World during the summer.
Yes.
But also, or even just when you're going on the water rides, if you don't want to get wet, a poncho. And the thing is you don't have to spend a lot. You can, we always will get like the dollar ponchos from either, I don't know if we usually found them like in the camping section of places like Walmart, but you can also get them at, I think like even the dollar store probably, I don't know. But you just, those cheap disposable ponchos so that you're not having to then wear a cheap disposable Disney poncho for $10. So plan ahead, bring some ponchos, just put a couple in your bag. You may not need them at all, but if you do, you'll be glad you have them. Yep. Okay, this is kind of a safety one. We've talked about it in the past, but if you have kids, make sure that you bring some way for you to have contact information on your kids. So in the past we've done lanyards, and I'd have a piece of paper and I'd write the contact information on that and put it in the lanyard, and then they'd wear that. You could also, when I was a travel agent, I ordered wristbands like you would get like if you went to maybe a water park or a concert or something like that. They put the wristband on you, and those are the durable ones that you can't really rip off. You have to cut off, and they're waterproof and they'll last for days. I would do that, and then it was meant for this. It was meant for putting your information on your kids, but it would say, you know, if I'm lost, please call my parents' name, my parents' phone number. So it could be something like that, whatever is going to work best for you and your kids, but some way to have your information on your child. So that way, in the event of separation, it's a lot easier to get back together quickly. Yeah. All right, next on yours.
Special items for kids, like a favorite blanket or favorite toy or something to keep them busy while in line.
Yeah, so the comfort thing for at home, back in the hotel for going to bed. This is a new place. It's not their bed. It's not their room. They might have a hard time. So something comforting to them for that. And then, yeah, things to keep them busy in line, like little games or little toys or just stuff that while they're waiting, whether it's in line or for a show or whatever, but that might keep them preoccupied. You know your kids, so things that they would enjoy, that they would like. That'll help you and them. But yeah, if you have kids, plan on that. The last one on our list, this is something that's a little bit, I don't always remember to do this, but it's fun to do if you think of it. And that is to send mail from like Main Street, or to send mail from Disneyland or Disney World. And so what I would do for that is I would bring postcard stamps and the addresses, and usually I would buy postcards there. But I'm gonna be honest, my husband and I really like buying postcards at places, and Disney's not the best place to buy postcards. They do have they'll have like oversized ones that then you need more postage for, or they'll have the packs of like 10 or 12, I don't know how many come in them, which are fine if you're gonna do a lot. But if you just wanted one or two, they don't have a big variety of simple postcards like you would at any other tourist destination. So you might even bring the postcards, but otherwise you can get some there. They do have some available, just not a whole lot. But yeah, it's just kind of fun to send some mail, or stationery and envelopes and regular postage, whatever works for you. But it's just kind of neat to have it come from Disney or Disneyland. It's just neat. And it's a fun way to send a little note to your friends, or even to yourself as a souvenir to send home, and like your favorite memory from that day, and then send it back. And then when you get home, you're going to have all these memories that come in the mail from your trip, and that'd be fun too. But anyway, so those are some things that we have started or learned to through trial and error, and sometimes really painful error, to remember in our packing list, or that have been helpful to us in the past. Sometimes not all these apply at different phases in your life, but hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you are able to start traveling again soon, and you can use this as part of your packing list. But for now, we're gonna sign off. We will see you next week.
See you.